Every day is a great day for crafting, whatever the season. Hi, I'm Candie Cooper, and today we look at our inspiration for our crafting. Look around and you'll find ideas in the weather, the world, and other people. For our first craft, I took a look at my favorite flowers in my garden. I love sunflowers and wanted them to last all year long. I love the little sparkly glitter on these things. Let's see what else we need to make them. You'll need some paintbrushes, gold glitter, some foam cutting tools, fake flowers that look like sunflowers, a foam ball, pine cones, some dowel rods in green, glitter glue, thick craft glue, acrylic paint, and maybe a sea sponge. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is find some pine cones. And to paint these, you have to water down your paint just a little bit because there's lots of tiny cracks and crevices. And sometimes if you get too much water, believe it or not, the pine cones will swell shut. But don't worry if this happens because they'll open up once they dry. This happened to me when I painted mine. Okay, so you would just work the entire piece over and you'll have something like this. And you can see that the watered down paint kind of makes it more of a stain versus a bright color. Next, you're going to add splashes of orange paint on the tips of the pine cone. And I'm getting rid of some of my paint here and then just brushing over the top. And that way we can still see some of our gold paint. And you would do this for the entire surface. And then this is where you might want to sponge, or you can just use another paintbrush. But I like to dip my sponge in paint and then just kind of splotch some brown in sections. And if you cover too much up, it's no big deal. You can just go back in with your orange on top and put spots of paint. So basically you get the idea. You just want to add splashes of brown and orange. The next thing you're going to do is cover it in glitter. This is my favorite step. I love sparkle, and so I'm using this sparkly glue to get started. I've got some in my palette right here, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to apply this, and I just brush it over the tips of the pine cone. And then you would go on around. This is a good step to do outdoors because it gets a little bit messy. Okay, so you just open the cap on your glitter and then you can just shake the glitter all over the tips of your pine cones. I love that. And then you just want to shake it off. You may do this on a piece of paper so you can conserve your glitter for later and put it back in the jar. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is take apart the sunflower layers and get those ready. And the reason I brought a few with me is because each one has its own different petal styles. So you can layer these together to make them even more fluffy and unique. Okay, so once we get those disassembled, we're going to cut some styrofoam balls in half. Just use our little sawing motion and rub them together to get them nice and level. And then you're going to paint these pieces with green paint. And these are going to be the base of our sunflower. So go ahead and cover those entirely. You can also use the end of your dowel rod to poke a hole in the end of the flower. To make your flowers look differently, you'll want to poke it in at angles and straight up and down to get a variety. Okay, so before I forget, we need to glue our layers of the petals together with some thick craft glue. Like so. And you would just sandwich all those together so you have something like this. And then you're going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom piece where your foam piece will sit. And then on the top is where your sunflower will sit. Actually, our pine cone's going to sit here, not our sunflower. Our sunflower is going to actually sit on this little dowel rod. Now, I've got one that's all dried, so it won't fall apart while we're putting it together here. So we're going to use some glue here. And you can see I've got my piece on the back. We're going to just use a little bit of glue. Let that sit up a little bit. And it's ready to add to our vase. I love this. You could make a bouquet for your mom, your grandma. This would brighten anyone's day.